every race there was media attention. Oh, the son of Keino is here, is going to school here. So the cameras already on me. How is he going to perform? How is he going to perform? So my first year, I was not prepared. Pole I started improving, but my second year it changed, and then I became, I became better. I was starting to win races. I started to train harder, and a lot of it was personal. I was driving myself to become better. I would train extra from the team. When our team would train, I would either get up in the morning, do my training, because I only train once in the day in the afternoon after school. So I would start putting in a bit more extra work, or even when I'm with them, I run harder than them, like that. So I was pushing myself to become better, and I did get better over time. But the media attention, of course, everybody was like, Keino's son, what is he doing, And so when I win, there's even more attention. Your parent has excelled in athletics. It's either two ways. You either want to follow, or you want nothing to do with it, because you see the kind of hard work that it takes to become successful. And is your parent supportive if you are interested in that kind of thing? And I see, like for her, McColgan, the mother was very supportive, because I remember her, starting in 2010, and she was not very good. She started with 800, 1500, steeplechase, and she was not successful. But now she moved up to 10,000, what the mother was running. She became, of course, successful. And there's a lot of support that is necessary, to do that. A lot of parents either don't encourage their children to take up sport because they know it's hard. And particularly in this era, our children, we don't push our children as much as in the years past, because athletics is very hard. It is very difficult, and a lot of them maybe are not as strong. Particularly you as a former athlete, what you went through. And a lot of them think, I'll not let I'll not push my children as much as I should. And I see that with a lot of parents. And there may be because maybe you are successful and you're able to give them a better life. You let them choose what they want to do and that kind of thing, but you're not pushing them, to be the absolute best, particularly in sports. They can be good in other things, but sports requires a different mindset, that you have to push, you have to work hard. It's pain, it's failure, it's all those things, and maybe you don't want, you have to detach yourself from your child and say, okay, fanya your kazi, go to training, I don't want to see you, you have to, go through the things that you need to go through in order to be successful. A lot of parents maybe are not willing to push their children to go that, or even be supportive, or even, to make sure that, they get to that point. And you see, the thing about the parents, sometimes when the parents make the decision for you, it becomes their decision, not yours. I want you to go in and do this. So a lot of it is for the parent to see you become successful for their own gain, not even so much for the child's gain. So it has to be personal. You have to want it as much as maybe your parents. If you are not at that level, then it will not work out. Utawacha, you say, let me not even do this. But if you are driven, like for me, Mzee couldn't convince me not to do it. You see, all he could do is now offer his support when I started becoming successful. He could offer his support and say, okay, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this. I'll support you no matter what. That's what I needed to hear. But for a lot of people, and I see it a lot in maybe the parents really push their children. When they push their children, they tend to say, I'm tired, I don't even want to do it. Yet they probably could be so talented. So if you leave it to the young athlete to take it up by themselves, and they're driven by themselves, all they need is support. Athletes who have come from very humble backgrounds have had to work very hard to achieve success. And once they achieve success, then of course they don't want their offspring, their children, to go through difficult times. So they provide a level of comfort for them. And those ones maybe are not as hungrier as the parents to achieve a level of success. Yes, they've been given a certain level of comfort, but they don't know maybe that they have to work as hard or even harder than the parents to get to that level of success. And then they become comfortable. And then the next generation, of course, becomes even more comfortable. until now they don't have anything that they have to realize that, hey, maybe the fourth generation now goes back to that hunger, that they really realize that, hey, I have to work very hard. If I have to eat, I have to do anything, that kind of thing. So that hunger comes back. So, and I think I see that happening. Of course, you can't begrudge our successful athletes for wanting to give a comfortable life to the athletes. But they have to, if they want that continuity from their children to continue performing well with athletes, they have to show them how hungry you have to be to become successable. It's not just being comfortable and everything comes to you. You have to go after it and train hard, or harder than the others, in order to become, and I think there was that perception. I saw it a lot with me. People were like fellow athletes around me, when I was at a professional level. They're like, huyu ni kijana Kipchoge Keino, wako na kila kitu, wako na. I'm like, no, you ni mzee. I'm looking for mine, And so it doesn't. I don't associate with his success. Yes, it's a family success.
But from having the
yeah, just the name. But everything I have to prove for myself. If I want to become good, I have to train harder, even harder than you. Because now that's what will give me success. You see. So I always face that with a lot of my athletes. They always assume that we are Menda University, wako na nyumba, wako na mali. That's not mine. Mine is what I have to fight for here. And that's something that I like I said, I would always have conversations with my people. I'm like, why are you assuming that? Here I am. In the training camps, I'm not going home. I'm doing everything that you're doing. I'm doing even more than you to be successful. I want that success even as much as everybody else. And I know as much as whatever my childhood was given to me, I have to prove even more. I started a management company to manage, because I was always called upon to advise athletes on communication, on managing investments, lifestyle, all those things as an athlete. So I said, you know what, maybe the next stage is let me see if I can manage these young athletes, with my experience as an athlete, and what they need to learn in order to become sort of well-rounded athletes. You need to, once you see, just because you're successful on the track doesn't mean you have reached. There's so many other things that you can do, but all the other things that you have to think about. Since you're winning, the media want to hear about you. So how do you communicate? How do you, and then once you have all this money, what do you do with it? How do you manage it? And then your lifestyle. What kind of person do you want to be outside the sport? You can't just be going out to bars and have all these girls around you. You have to, as a superstar, there's a kind of lifestyle you must lead. You understand? So I started doing that. We set up a management company with a friend of mine. We started managing a few young athletes, but then unfortunately my partner, suddenly passed on. So I decided, let me move on. So I set up a sports marketing agency, and I wanted to do events as well as market our athletes with all those things, communication, how do you speak, how to find endorsements, how to manage lifestyle, all those things. So I did that, and I still do that. I have an events company that we organize different events, not just running events, from rugby, volleyball, golf, everything. We manage and create and manage sports events across the board. Then I also started writing a column in The Nation, So I was a columnist for about 5 years. Then I was called upon to do some commentating for some events. So we started the World Cross Country Championships in Mombasa, and I've done all kinds of events, Keino Classic. I've been asked to do the World Championship. So I've been doing so many different things. I even did a TV show. So there was so many opportunities to do different things around, the sports area, from sports broadcasting, journalism, events, marketing, all those things. I was always open to those opportunities. I was interested. I was like, somebody would ask me, I would not say no, even if I don't know. And then I'd go in and learn, quickly.